Hello everyone, my name is Tirishan Muladis. I am a paramedic student and today I'm going to be talking to you about the Australian Migrant Resource Centre, also known as AMRC. So things that have been covered in this presentation are the background and history of migration in Australia and the AMRC, aims of AMRC, affordability, accessibility and availability, services provided by the organisation, how principles are displayed by AMRC, limitations and recommendations, and then finally a conclusion. So first I want to talk to you about the background of migration and AMRC. So the Australian Bureau of Statistics, ABS, has found that up to 24% of South Australian population is born overseas, with migration expecting to increase in future years. As shown in the table is the migration of Australia from 1970 to 2019. So the AMRC is a privately found organisation which is supported by government and other sponsorships, which are aiming to help people of migrant background to resettle in South Australia and live a more comfortable lifestyle, giving them opportunities and chances to have a more successful life. So originally, the organisation commenced in 1979 to aid in the migration of Southeast Asian refugees, but has ever since resettled over 150,000 migrants. It is also a registered training organisation which provides migrants with qualifications. I'll talk about this a bit later in the presentation. So, looking at the governance of AMRC, it is run by the CEO, Miss Eugenia Tsoulis, who has been working with this organization but has experience in this industry for over 40 years, which has focused on multicultural policy, research, and change management within human rights framework. She has had numerous awards given to her for her work, which include a Medal of Order of Australia in the Arts in 1994 and 2007. She's also got the Zonta Women of the Year and 2012 Govern's Multiculturalism Award. So the AMRC has aims and visions for their organisation and what they want to see in South Australia. So the AMRC visions that people of all backgrounds should have equal access, rights and opportunities. They are further aiming to build a stronger, more diverse communities through their commitment to social justice. And they believe that every member in society should receive services and opportunities in South Australia, regardless of factors like age, gender, country of origin, ethnicity, religion, or ability. When looking at affordability, accessibility, and availability of the organisation, the AMRC is quite affordable, mainly due to the idea that they don't want to charge members with any sort of membership fee. They are more so giving back to members. This is through such services, which I'll talk about later, like their grants and training. When looking at the accessibility, there are many ways in which you can access their resources. The one that I find most beneficial is their website. Their website has a lot of information about different sorts of grants, different sorts of programs they do for migrants. Furthermore, I included an image of just one of their locations, their main one in Adelaide CBD. This has things like a telephone, fax, email, and there's many different ways to contact them. There are many other AMRC services throughout all of South Australia, though. So it is quite easy to access them even if you're living in regional areas. Availability wise, though, it is increasing in usage and increasing in demand. So at times, depending on the priority you are, for some it might take longer, whereas for some it might be a quick shortcut and you get right in. Now let's go on to the services provided by the organisation. The settlement services provided by AMRC is kind of the core business for AMRC for the last 4 decades. So most of the organisation is trained to provide settlement support to families and individuals. They try to help migrants arrive and transition into independence, employment, and civic participation in South Australia. And also, for many new arrivals, this process might begin with the Humanitarian Settlement Service program or the Community Proposal Pilot and continues through to the Settlement Grant program and other sources of Commonwealth and state funded projects. So, as explained earlier, a bit earlier, there is the Humanitarian Settlement Services, which is another service provided. So, this assists clients in developing the confidence to become more independent in navigating into this new environment, and also to participate effectively in the Australian way of life. This is accomplished through a numerous amount of services and referrals that strategically assist clients to move towards independence. Some of these include an initial assessment of the client, property induction, some accommodation services, structured case management plans, education, and other health sort of referrals. There's many more things such as social participation in social events and recreational activities. The way that the Humanitarian Settlement Service surveillances their goals is that reviews are done to make sure that milestones and positive pathways to full participation are achieved. So their partners and collaborating stakeholders are able to identify and address issues as they arouse. So how are principles displayed by the AMRC? So I want to talk to you about equity. So the World Health Organization describes equity as the absence of avoidable or remediable differences among groups of people. This is similarly related to Waterford, where they state that equity provides people with resources that fit to their circumstances. The AMIC also has visions and goals which are closely related to equity. So now I want to talk to you about a case study called Skills in Action. So in this case study, they talk about two people, Elizabeth from South America and Kavun from Syria. So this has provided them with a food industry course, which lets them, learn how to cook different sorts of meals, which are multicultural. Elizabeth states that after doing this, she states that she loves Australian culture and environment, and that going to this course makes her feel at home. And Kavun states that he wants to open up a Syrian, Middle Eastern restaurant with Australian foods also in it, so kind of like a mixture, which is a great idea. And so Bulk Chung, the head of training, says that South Australia is rich in food and wine. So why don't we give migrants these opportunities to get to understand this specific area of food and wine, which would be great for them. The AMRC are big advocates for social justice. Social justice is quite similar to equity, where the Department of Health explains this as equal access, rights and participation in society, alongside with equity. So programs that improve community development and engagement are represented by the AMRC. The programs that I want to talk about include things like Women Empowerment Program, Campaign Against Domestic Violence, and Youth Leadership Programs. So I want to firstly talk about the Women's Empowerment Program. So the first one I want to talk to you about is the Young Arabic Women's Voice. So women of Arabic background, aged 15 to 25, receive training in public speaking for them to have a platform to share their inspirational quotes. Another one is Connecting Women Building Leadership, which is a project that focuses on women to strengthen their cultural engagement and make them feel more included and respected as part of a South Australian broader community. So some limitation and recommendation is, well, firstly, is that it only targets South Australia. I believe that they have the success and potential to be implemented in other states. Especially, for example, my family, they came from Sri Lanka. An organisation like this would have really helped them live a much better lifestyle to what they were, with getting an understanding of Australian culture, how things are done, some great cooking tips, and some services they provide. I had a bit of difficulty navigating to the website. It seemed that there was almost like an information overload where there was too much information in too many different points where I feel like it could be done a lot more broader. Because if someone that is from a background where they don't speak English would struggle to utilize this website, as there's just so much information to go through. So, to sum everything up, the organization is displaying promising signs of continuous success. They give migrants and refugees opportunities for them to live a better lifestyle. They are easy to access with many services around Australia. They are motivated to allow children, women, and other migrants equal access, opportunities, and full participation. Thank you for listening to my presentation.